Morning, everyone, and welcome back to Sudden Wealth. If you do enjoy my content, please consider dropping that like and subscribe. The channel is growing well, and it would be highly appreciated. So thank you very much. So this morning, I would like to address one of the topics which tends to cause, let's say, more animosity in the channel that I've witnessed, which is around AMC and particularly Adam Aaron. Okay, so I'd like to address this in a very simple and straightforward way, and hopefully you'll understand exactly why I feel this is a major issue. Okay, so AMC followed GameStop's meteoric rise to fame, and at the end of the day, what happened? Melvin Capital went bankrupt, which is about 0.01% of all the assets managed by hedge funds. So the big win against hedge funds was always to some degree exaggerated. Now, some people did make a lot of money in those retail plays, and in particular when it came to GameStop, a lot of hedge funds were caught with their pants down, and God knows what would have happened if Robinhood didn't take the buy button. Now, immediately after GameStop happened, retail, and particularly the leaders of the movement on Reddit, on Twitter, and on YouTube start to look for heavily shorted companies with a bad performance, and basically try to encourage a large movement of people to push the stock higher. And to do that, a lot of articles started to pop up around these mysterious billions in synthetic shares. The real price of AMC is $10,000, $500,000, $100,000, you name it. But the thing that's happening is, so the leaders on Reddit, the influencers on YouTube, and the leaders on Twitter, they all bought the stock somewhere between $2 and $5. And when they start pumping the stock, the idea is that retail comes and pushes the stock higher, and while they are telling you to buy and hold, they are actually selling off their position, or they're buying, or they're playing options. And then a lot of articles start to pop out. Why? Because people writing those articles know that there's a lot of attention in that stock, so a lot of people will read it. So at the end of the day, who won? People that got in very early, the majority being the Twitter, YouTube influencers, and the Reddit leaders, the insiders of AMC, people or the websites that wrote those articles because they got huge payouts from doing that, and YouTubers that dedicated all their time with good story, bad story, good story, bad story, like Finance News, New York Angelo, all these guys, who basically just say the same thing over and over again for the ad revenue. And at the end, most of them started to delete their videos on YouTube. They already made their ad revenue, so now they can go away. Now, the reason why I speak about this place is because the people that were left holding the bags and paying the price were retail. And one of the reasons why I made this channel is exactly, hopefully, for you to see what's happening behind the scenes and why it's specifically designed to lure you in. So in the next cycle of a bit of euphoria, and the next is not going to be AMC, it's going to be maybe another stock, don't fall for the same tricks. That's what I'm trying to do here. And for people that really defend Adam Aaron, I actually went and had a look again at the accounts of AMC. Now forget about the Peter Pan stories about $50,000 share price. Just look at a company on its on its own merit. Yeah. So this company in 2021 had negative 1.8 billion of equity, and now 2022 negative 2.6 billion of equity. Do you understand what that means? Basically, when you have a financial statement, you have assets on this side and you have liabilities and own capital, your own stuff on this side. That means that if AMC sells all their assets, everything they have, they are still missing $2.5 billion to pay to lenders. That's how bad the company is, okay? Then the company has reported losses in 2017, 2019, 2021, 2022. I'm even removing COVID, because COVID is a disaster, of course. But even before COVID, they were already losing money. And in 2022, they lost almost $1 billion. So they had a loss of $1 billion. But here is the worst part. They actually have negative operating income. Do you know what that means? That means that they have the sales, they have the costs of goods sold, but then they have stuff like depreciation of assets, amortizations, and then they have the selling, marketing, advertising expenses, and that's your operating income. It's already negative. So that means that before they start paying interest on the debt, they are already in the black, on the red. And by the time they have to pay taxes, etc., my God, they're even more in the red. But the point is that operationally, so the core of the company is already value destructive, okay? Then in terms of cash, because you have things that are expenses which do not lead into a cash going out. Example, you buy a car. If you have a company, you buy a car, you need to record an expense, which is the depreciation of the car. But did any cash go out? No. So when you just look at cash going in and out, the cash from operations, the cash of the basics of the business, they are burning more than 600 million per year. They already burned 200 million in the first quarter, and they already had a loss of almost 200 million as well. And this means basically before they even need to make investments or repay any debt, they are already negative. They already burned cash so they already need to go raise cash from somewhere. But the lenders are not stupid. They look at the same numbers as me and said, no more money for those guys. So let me create some ways to go screw the apes. Creation of ape, reverse stock split, etc., etc. Ways to basically get more money from you. And this will keep on happening unless a lot of pressure is put on that guy, because here is the worst part. He really doesn't care. So in 2021, 2022, Adam Aron sold $40 million worth of stock, dumping on you. Insiders sold more than $70 million, dumping on you. And his pay went from 8.3, 8.9 million 2021 to 23.7 2022. I'll tell you why I think that is completely outrageous. The NVIDIA CEO makes less money. A guy who created a company, who brought a company to the $1 trillion valuation, makes less money than Adam Aron. The CEO of JP Morgan is not too far away from Adam Aron. But the difference is those two guys run extremely good businesses. Well, this guy runs a terrible business. So that was my point about Adam Aron. This is what you need to understand. Because if you look at GameStop, the business is also not very famous. These companies were never bought for the fundamentals of the business. They were bought for the short interest. However, if you buy into a company that has strong fundamentals, is even if your hopes for a short squeeze don't happen, at least there's some sort of a floor. right? On the big fall down, there's at least some sort of a floor. So for example, GameStop has more than $1 billion in positive equity. GameStop managed to actually be profitable last year. So there are differences, and it's moving in a certain direction, which is more encouraging also for the lenders. So for them, it's easier to raise cash from banks, investors, than it is for AMC. AMC only has the Apes. So this, when I was saying to, for example, challenge Adam Aron to get no pay until the company is profitable, that was what I was basing on. You see what I mean? And the reason why this upsets me is because I know that the following of AMC and Adam Aron is very strong. And you have something which is very important, which is the sense of a community. You guys are loyal to the brand. And it just upsets me when people don't realize the level of mismanagement that is around here. Now, I just looked at public accounts of AMC. You can go on their website, download their annual reports, and you'll find this. So all of what I said here is public. But I understand that you guys feel the need to either defend your investment, defend who is heading your company. But this was one of the reasons why I created the channel, is for people to understand when you go play in these kind of games. I mean, if you want to play on these kind of games, at least, take a little bit of money. I mean, just small money, right? Because if you're right and this thing's gonna go to $50,000 a share, then you don't need, you don't need to invest millions of dollars, right? Just need to invest a little bit. So, I mean, of course, I'm not giving you financial advice, and I mean, this is all public info, but I need to say that everything that I said here is for entertainment purposes, and it's all alleged. But I mean, just go to their annual accounts and be smarter before you make certain investments. And remember, pay attention. Who is winning? Who is making the money? And who made the money? And who's left holding the bags? That's the key. Okay? So thank you guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.